Hey guys, I'm Erin and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a review of The Stardust Thief by Abdullah. This is a new release that's coming out on May 17th, but should be a couple days after this is posted, so by the time you're watching this, it may or may not be out yet. And this is the first in a adult trilogy coming from Orbit. And so this is a kind of billed as a retelling kind of inspired by the 1001 Nights collection, and so I am only somewhat familiar with this kind of set of stories. I know it's a collection of stories and it's kind of set around the framing device of Scheherazade, who has volunteered to be the next bride of the Sultan, who takes brides and then kills them like the next night in the morning. And so she decides to be his bride. I think she volunteers. But so she's his new bride, and she ends up delaying her killing by entrancing him with these tales. And by the time the night's over, he's like, oh, well, I want to find out what happens next. I can't kill you. And it kind of just goes on until she ends up saving her life. So that's kind of the extent I know of that story. And then I don't really know much about the tales themselves. I think Aladdin is in the collection, the original Aladdin tale. I think there's the Alibaba and the Den of 40 Thieves is one in there as well. All that to be said, this book, The Stardust Thief, is not a retelling of any one of those stories. It is more of Abdullah created this Arabian-inspired world and story that she wanted to tell, and then weaved in aspects of the tales as if the world she's in is set in a world where these tales happen, kind of. So you see a Scheherazade character kind of weaved in like the backstory of one of our characters, like it's their mother was the Scheherazade character. You see like the 40 Thieves kind of dropped in, so it's like these references are more weaved in instead of being any one story that's being retold or any one story being used as inspiration. And so for that aspect of this, I really enjoyed that. I liked how it was just kind of weaving in bits and pieces, and I'm sure there's many I didn't pick up. Again, I am not that familiar with all the tales. And I really like that, just kind of the way she did that instead of being just one set tale. I think doing it that way also gives you kind of, if you like the mythology tale retellings, it kind of gives you some of those vibes while still offering a completely unique story. It kind of combines the best of both worlds in that aspect. So I really like that part of it. Now, moving on to what this book is actually about. So this book follows Luli, who is a smuggler, along with her Jinn bodyguard, Kadir. And so Kadir is kind of secretly Jinn. People don't know he's Jinn. He's hidden that identity. So Luli knows, but no one else really knows. And they go off in the desert and find magical Jinn relics that she then comes back into town and sells for people. And that's how she makes her living. Then she ends up being blackmailed by the Sultan to go after this hidden, really famous, like unfindable relic of this magic lamp. And with her, the Sultan sends the prince and one of the prince's thieves to go on this quest with her. And so we get our tale told from the point of view of Luli and the prince. Those are our two main point of views. And then we get a kind of third point of view from the princess thief, and she gets fewer chapters. She's kind of like, we have the two main point of views, and she's a more minor point of view, but she's in there several times. And I really liked all three of these point of views. I think the author did a great job in getting me equally invested in all three. Obviously, their stories converge pretty quickly because they end up on this quest together, but they start off as separate. I was equally invested when they were in kind of separate, and as I was when they were telling their stories, as they have then been combined into kind of one place. So I really liked our main character, Luli. She is this smuggler who I like the kind of female thief smuggler-esque archetype of a character a lot. She's not necessarily a like particularly standout unique character. She's kind of a standard character of that archetype, and that's something I've seen some people in reviews take as kind of a negative. That archetype just works for me, so I really liked her. I also really liked what Abdullah did with Luli's relationship with her bodyguard Kadir. It's a platonic relationship, but I really liked the way they explored that platonic relationship, and kind of they had some like interpersonal struggles through the book. Some secrets got revealed that kind of tested their bonds and kind of made Luli like reevaluate how they depended on each other. And I really liked the way the author did that. I thought it was really compelling, and it really, I think, added some depth to their relationship as the book went on. Our prince character is kind of a cowardly prince, and I also just really enjoyed that. I don't know. I think these character archetypes just kind of work for me. He's kind of a cowardly prince who's trying to kind of find maybe some bravery as he's going off on this quest, kind of trying to figure out how to like kind of stand up for himself a little bit. And then our thief character, Aisha, I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced, but I really liked her. I think my one negative I have about this book is I wish she had an equally present third point of view instead of being like a minor third, because I thought her story was really interesting. I enjoyed kind of her own moral quandary she was going forward, and kind of like where her loyalties lie, and kind of people kind of testing that by like just the things they said to her. Very interesting. From a story wise, this is very much a questing kind of travel book story, because once they get sent off on this quest to find this lamp, it's them traveling through the desert, and then they'll kind of encounter like a village or something that will have some action, some stuff that happens there, and they'll like continue on their quest to the next place. And so if you're not a big travel story, you might not like that as much, but I enjoyed it. I thought the travel was broken up by enough like in this location and doing things that it didn't feel like a monotonous, they're just walking forever kind of story. I thought the pacing of it worked well for me, and I enjoyed it. I think I've also just realized recently with some of the things I've been reading that I really enjoy desert fantasy settings, and so that definitely was enjoyable here. Also, in addition, there's no romance storyline in this book. I just kind of assumed there would be, for no other reason than usually when I see like mythology or folklore or fairy tale retelling kind of books, there's often a romance storyline in it, and I just assumed there would be, for no other real reason, I guess. And I would have liked it if there had been. I like romance in books, but I know there's many people in adult fantasy who don't necessarily like romance in their books. So if you're one of those people, there is no romance in this. Here, have an adult fantasy with no romance. I could see there becoming or a romance like manifesting in later books. Like, it's not necessarily a given. I don't necessarily think there will be, but I wouldn't be shocked either. I just think there's like some very beginning tendrils that I could see the author developing in book 2 and 3 into a romance, and I could just see her not doing that at all and just continuing on the path of where they are with no romance, and it could go either way. So hopefully when I say this is a book for you, non-romance readers, I don't eat those words when later books come out with a romance. So yeah, there's like one character has like a crush on another, but it's only mentioned briefly, like twice, and that's kind of the extent, and that's kind of what I meant by the tendril being dropped. But it's not like they don't like spend a lot of time talking about it. It's just kind of like an offhand mention 2 or 3 times, and that's really it. And so this one really focuses on the relationships between the characters platonically, and or less platonic, more as just begrudging allies, and I really like that as well. So yeah, I would 100% recommend this book if it's something that you've been interested in picking up. And I am definitely excited for the next book to come out, whenever it comes out. That's the one downside whenever I've read an arc and it's the first in the series, is I get excited for book 2 and book 1 hasn't even been released yet. The struggle. But yeah, overall, this was a 5-star read for me, and I really loved it.